What's up, and welcome to episode 37 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. We're a Magic the Gathering podcast. I'm going to start throwing that in the beginning because
Word.
we
Yeah.
might as well.
Who fucking knows what we do here? It could be anything.
I
Even
know,
a
we're
boat.
we're in a multiverse brewing around. But I'm Mike.
And I'm Joel.
There it is.
Thwap.
Yeah, we're going Bud Light today, buddy. Bud Light.
How far you fallen from the Modelo?
I know. I'm just getting trashier and trashier every episode. My God. Red Dog and Natty Ice next week, baby.
Oh, God. I think I've mentioned it before, but the first beer I ever drank in my entire life was a Red Dog that was taken directly out of the hot garage of my grandfather. And that's what he gave me.
That's how you become a man.
No,
was the day
I legitimately think, dude, that the reason I dislike beer stems from the fact that my first time was like such a horrible experience.
That makes sense. That's always the origin story. Like, Dana will not eat fish because one time her father caught like turtles and fish and just shoved it in a soup and made her eat turtles and fish. But who knows how legit that soup was. So ever since then, she will not eat fish. It's the origins.
Yeah.
I'll eat anything. Actually, I caught a fish on vacation. All right. This is illegal. I didn't have my fishing license. I was just throwing in and catching. And I hooked one and it had swallowed the hook. It was hooked on its inside. So, I had to kill it. But if I was going to kill it, I was going to eat it.
Yep.
And that was awesome.
Did you put it on a stick over a fire?
Bro, I wish. No, I wanted the kids to eat it. So I filleted it, I deboned it. And because when you debone it, it kind of gets broken up a little bit. I cut it into little nuggets and I made little fish nuggets. And it was good. Kids did not want it at all. I just ended up devouring a whole bunch of breaded bass. But no, good times. But what else I did do on vacation was play the fuck out of some Bloomburrow Limited.
Hell yeah, brother.
My God.
Hell yeah, brother.
So I've done 6 sealed events and 6 drafts.
Holy shit. You've done 12 events?
Yes.
God
yep.
Damn, bro.
That was vacation for me. I took the time. Did the work. But I'm loving it. Now, I know you played a little. How do you feel about Bloomburrow Limited? What have you seen? Give me some just opening general thoughts.
Bats suck, asshole. Neither in the miserable 4 games I played with bats, nor any of the 9 games that I played with frogs did I encounter a bats deck that I felt was like even remotely competitive.
Okay.
And
I just want to say I've gone against bat decks that are good, but I myself have tried them and it did not work for me either. So
no. Well, for me, it was just the struggle of the gaining life, losing life thing. And I felt like I had a pretty, like the first time I drafted, I felt like I had a pretty solid base. Like I got the 2 mana enchantment that, if you've lost life and gain life, let me try to look, what is that? Like something convocation. Yeah. Lunar convocation. Beginning of your end step, if you gain life, each opponent loses 1. And at the end step, if you gained and lost, you make the 1/1 bat token. And I was just finding it very hard to like activate those abilities, like the gaining and losing.
Right. Yeah. You need to have the right synergy in order to get that. There's that one hybrid hybrid white black. So it's a 3 mana. I think it's a 1/3 or a 1/3 bat. But whenever it attacks, you gain life. Yeah. And then that'll trigger. Yeah, there's also the 2 and a white, the duo that whenever a creature enters, you gain a life. So if you get that synergized out, it's pretty good. The bat that I noticed was my biggest issue was it's a 2/4 or a 1/4 with death touch. And whenever you gain or lose life, all your bats get death touch and a +1/+0. I don't know if it was just that bat that was doing it, but once everything has death touch and flying, It's like, are you going to give up your one reach creature to stop that one damage coming in, when four of them are coming? Um, so I guess ultimately what it is if you do constructed bats, you can get it pretty tight. But
Oh,
yeah, when you're just
100%.
picking out, when you're picking out random bats, it's not compared to the other tribes, which we'll get into. The bats definitely are not shining and limited.
No, yeah. And the other thing that really annoys me about the bats in particular is that like you're still investing. The Death Touch bat is a perfect example. Obviously, Death Touch is good, but it's a 1/3 for 3 mana. And there's another one. What's I'm looking it up. I have the cards open now. There's like a 4 mana white bat that's also like a 3/1. Um,
Stargazer,
Star Charter.
Star Charter.
And it's like, yeah, that effect is cool and it was great to like look for things, but at the end of the day, you're paying 4 mana for a 3/1 that can basically get killed by literally anything with reach, which there's plenty of in this set. Um, I just feel like it could have been like I'd rather it have been a like a 2/3 or something with a bigger butt, because for 4 mana to essentially just say like I'm definitely gonna lose this bet
Yeah.
is lame.
Yeah, I played that bat. It's a rare. I thought it was going to do really well, and for some extent, it gets into hand. But let's compare it to another card that in the exact same mana value that is way better in a different tribe. So, Whisker Veil Forerunner is also 4, so it's 3 and a white, but it's a 3/4, and it's got Valiant. So whenever it becomes a target of spell or ability you control for the first time, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them, put it onto the fucking battlefield. And then if it doesn't go onto the battlefield, put it into your hand. So it's the same mana value. It's a 3/4 instead of a 3/1. And instead of having to, do the bat shit, you just target it, which everything and anything can target right now. All these creatures are tapping to give a 1/1 counter, to give haste. Easy to target this. And then it comes out onto the battlefield. So Whisker Veil Forerunner was awesome and limited. And it's the same fucking mana as that Stargazer.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is a rare versus an uncommon, but I agree.
Stargazer's uncommon?
Yeah, the one I'm looking at, the one that like you look at the top.
Oh, Star Charter. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because that can only go into your hand. But all I'm saying is the mana value in the bats, it's just not doing it compared to other tribes.
no.
So that's just no good bats. Did you get a Zora line in it?
No,
Okay.
the best I got beyond the I got Essence Channeler, which fucking sucked. Because it doesn't have flying innately, the fucking bat that's crawling around on the ground, so that's dumb as hell. And then you need to lose life to give it flying and vigilance, which is cool. Gaining life gives you the 1/1 counter on it. And when it dies, you move the counters over. But it's a fucking 2/1. Dude, it's a 2/1 for 2 mana. That's the thing, dude. I cannot be less excited about bats and limited.
Yeah. And it like they could have at least put pay 5 mana, gain 1 life. That way at least it could trigger itself if
Something,
you have to.
bro. Yeah, it was insane. I was so annoyed with how bad bats were.
Yeah.
Or at least see, that's the other thing. I'm not a great drafter. So there's
Well, it sounds like you had
possibility.
a good pool.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I did. I thought I had a bunch of synergy. Oh, what I did get the season of the Burrow, the white season,
Yes.
and
Nice.
that was a killer. I really enjoyed that. The exile clause was pretty solid.
Yeah.
And
I have a very strong opinion on that season. And we'll get to that when we get over into standard, but that card
word.
definitely made an impression on me.
Yeah, so that's my bats talk.
Okay. Bats, yeah. I had the same lackluster thing with bats. I had that black one, the what is it? The Bob, the Dark Confidant bat that can
Yeah.
offspring to make a second. And that worked out pretty well. Until it didn't. Until I drew a 4 mana card when I was at 7 life, and now I take 4 damage, and now I'm at 3, and I don't have a
Yeah.
bat that gains life. So, yeah. No, I again, when we get to standard, I will talk. I did build bats. Bats are triggering like crazy in standard. They're still worth building. Just, definitely I didn't see it in limited. My first two were mice. I had done the Boros mouse with the Valiant, and and just build wide, and you know, there's I think it's a bunny. It might be a bunny or a mouse. It's a 1 white mana card. It's a 1/1, and you could tap it. Okay, Bravekin Duo. So it's a rabbit mouse. It's both of them. It's just a 1 mana 1/1, but you could pay 1 and tap it. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. It was the best catalyst for triggering Valiant that you can have. It's just turn
Yeah.
1, don't block with it, don't attack with it unless you can, and it'll just keep that Valiant going. So definitely red white was viable. I came across a lot of red white in the limited. It did whoop my ass sometimes. Hop to it, just getting those little 1/1s out, and the season. Just I think mice and rabbits are similar. I know mice lean more towards red white, mice lean more towards green white, but you could kind of shove them all together. They're very synergy heavy.
Yeah.
Those were
Well,
nice.
actually, perfect transition. That the two losses I got in my frogs run were both to green white rabbits, and I feel like that deck is very strong.
Yeah.
Um, one deck in particular dropped the banner, the 1/1 and
Heraldic. Oh,
yeah, whatever
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called.
Not heraldic.
Uh, dropped a bat, dropped. I'm sorry, not a bat. Dropped that. Dropped another one the next turn, so they had two. Then played that card that made 3/1/1 tokens. So now they have 3/3 tokens. Um, the offspring, the one that creates like the offspring, and oh my god, what does it do? Definitely ready for this. Anyway,
Offspring was crazy.
yeah, like the
Offspring's definitely
offspring
paying
is
off.
great. Um, fucking Warren Warleader came out against me.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that blew up in my butthole.
Yeah,
And
4 mana 4/4. Whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 rabbit, or attacking creatures you control get +1/+1. Damn.
yeah, and then they
Yeah.
offspringed it. So now, yeah, now it's the banners and that. And then the other card out of rabbits that was also really, really good was Warren Elder, a 2 mana 2/2 that you pay 4 creatures you control get +1/+1 to the end of the turn.
Yep.
So, it's on curve, and then 2 turns later you can buff your whole team. Like, yeah, well, rabbits. I was very impressed with how strong rabbits ended up being.
Yeah. That 4 mana pump actually won me multiple games because when it was released, I started playing as soon as it was released. So people aren't playing the cards yet. And it's just a 2/2 for 2. So people aren't looking at it. And I swing out with some creatures. They block to kill my creatures as an even trade. And then I just pay the 4 mana to pump everything. Uh, they weren't ready for it because we weren't familiar with the set yet. But that ended up getting me a lot of surprise wins where once it was a one-sided wipe where all my creatures lived and they died, they would just concede because of the big error. So I won a few games just because of that 2/2 bunny. So that was good. Another
Yeah,
good bunny was the green white burrow guard mentor, which is star trample, and then its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. I mean, it just generally it was a 5/5 for 2 with trample, and that was a lot of closing games if you were able to give it again that little 1 mana creature. You tap it, now it's a 6/6, and just a very basic, solid staple for limited. I haven't seen any birds, no bird tribal really. And anytime anyone drops a bird, I fucking kill that bird. Get
yeah,
out of here, bird.
bolt the bird, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Damn, how accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't run into any birds. Didn't run any. I ran into one squirrel deck, but it just got obliterated by frogs.
Yeah, squirrels are not doing good. Now, raccoons, there are some banger raccoons in this set. And
Yeah,
oh yeah. Yeah.
expend
Okay.
is pretty good.
Yeah, not not raccoons that are winning you the game. Like I've gone against hugs. I've played hugs too. 5/5 with trample just isn't quite cutting it. Um, but there was one that really got my jimmies here. It's a rare one. Here we go. We're always so ready.
Yeah.
It was the rare byward barterer. It's the one where um
The
whenever you
multicolored?
expend 4, discard your hand, draw 2. And in limited, it was just something. It's a 3/3 with menace for I think 3 mana.
Yes.
Perfect. And
Drew a
then
ton.
whenever you expend 4, you draw 2. And typically, like once you're out of gas and that's just out there, you're gonna cast like a 2/2 and a 1, a 2/2 and a 2/2. It triggers it. You don't have no hand anyway. Dump your hand, pull 2 more. It's a land and something useless. Okay, drop the land. Next turn, you cast 4 mana. Dump your hand. Play it again. The fuel from that raccoon was phenomenal. So if you see it at pack one, pick one, just pick it. Even if you don't want to do raccoons or anything, just because it's worth it. As long as you have a little red in there, that will keep your deck going late game. Very impressed with that one.
Yeah, definitely ran into some banger raccoons. The expends. I know I said it was lame as hell, but also it's good. It's just easy to trigger,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that menace is just like a nice little icing on the cake, a little evasion.
Yeah, always is. And just get it in there. And then if you have any sort of trick, now they block with 2 creatures, they expect one to die, you give it a little pump, and then boom, boom. Because a lot of the there's an expend raccoon where whenever you hit 4 mana, a creature gets +1/+1 in trample. Um, so you can do that at instant speed. Just cast 2 mana for a creature, wait until they block, cast the 2 mana instant. Now it's going to grow. Whatever that instant does, maybe we'll pump it too. So um, I guess that's another thing to bring up too is the combat in this game is so intense. How you block and how you attack and what you plan to do is you need to sequence this shit so important because there's a lot of creatures out all the time. There's a lot of blocking options. There's a lot of instant pump and triggered abilities and um, you have to stay focused on this shit all the time. I remember in Brothers War, it was just you wait until the 9/9s came out late game and then you figured out how to handle them. But like this is just every turn you got to figure out am I going to swing in and possibly get that 2? Am I going to bluff shit? Just very
A
combat
lot of
heavy.
shit low to the ground. Yeah, so the first couple combats is important.
Yeah. And because of this, and I'm so happy that they did this, is there's not too many bombs in the set.
Yeah, I struggled to find what I would consider to be a bomb. My successful run was all synergy based, and
Yeah.
nothing like there was. Yeah, well,
And if
I
you
guess you consider a bomb if it's just a good rare, but like it wouldn't come down as like a 5/4 with like haste and trample.
right, like Goldbane Hydra,
Yeah, something dumb like
Goldbane.
that.
Yeah, where it's like once it drops, there's a good chance in 2 turns you're dead. That's what I see as a bomb. 2 turns you're dead, but there's not too much of that here,
Kind of
which
going
I
through all
like.
the tribes then, since we're kind of like touching on all of them.
We
We
might as
did
well.
squirrels, rabbits, raccoons, otters. Only ran into one otter deck. It went pretty well. They ran Stormcaller or whatever the hell it was, that rare, that mythic, that red mythic.
Oh,
What
okay.
is it? Storm Splitter. One
Okay.
4 with haste that when you cast an instant or sorcery, you create a token copy of it, of Storm Splitter, and you exile it. So they ended up casting like 2 cheap things that removed a creature and got like a couple cut tokens of it. I was able to stabilize after that, but yeah, that was pretty good card.
Yeah. I had a just like a small otter thing in one of my decks. And really what was the most impressive is Tempest Angler. So it's 1 hybrid blue red, 1 blue red. So it's 3 mana for a 2/2. But whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on Tempest Angler. That's another one of those things where when you swing in, they try to block it and they think, okay, maybe it'll get pumped up 1. But if you cast a card that just gives a creature +2/+2, And then it gets its +1/+1 because of it. It's now +3/+3. This thing got really big. I did win a few games just because he was a 7/7 at one point, and they didn't have the removal for it. So otters have a place, but definitely not something I've been seeing running around. They're what you see later on in the picks,
Yeah.
So 9 or 10, it's just some blue otters floating around.
It's like, fuck.
I'll make a hot
Rats?
take here, and I'm going to say that's going to change. I think otters are going to hit more into the meta as people figure this out a little bit. So that's what I think.
Word. You heard it here first.
You know it.
Should we rename our podcast Bad Luck Fist Bump?
Pretty much.
For just like shitty limited hot takes.
Yeah, right. If only I didn't get mana flooded.
Yeah, damn.
This is my fucking life. That's funny. Yeah. Okay. One other card, because before we get to the elephant in the fucking room of limited, which we haven't even alluded to. I love it. I love it. I do want to call out one card that has whooped my ass, and it's a 1 mana card. Blacksmith's Talent is 1 red mana for the uncommon class. And it's whenever it enters, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Sword. And it's a creature gets +1/+1 and has equip 2. So it's a shitty equipment. You pay 3 mana, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, equip creatures, target equipment gets equipped to a creature you control. So once you do that, just every turn that sword goes to somebody. Level 3, during your turn, equip creatures you control have double strike and haste. So once it gets to that turn 3, and like typically what it is turn 1 or 2, they drop this, turn 2 or 3, they put it to 2, they put it to a creature, now it's a 3/3. So it's nothing too stressful. But once it gets to 4, do you get rid of the artifact, that shitty little sword, or do you get rid of the creature wearing it? And typically it's I got to get rid of that creature. You get rid of the creature. Next turn, they drop a 4/4, and then it auto equips to the creature, and now it's a 4/4 with double strike. So it's one of those things. This is where you have to use removal on the enchantment itself, but then the sword is still out there, and the creature's still out there.
So it needs to wear down.
Yeah, dude. I have not come across this card where, but even at that, oh yeah. But then you got to give them something, and they still got the creature.
Nah, that's give them. Yeah, but get rid of that bullshit. Get it out of here.
Yeah, but it's a lot. If you are in red and you see it, grab it. I promise you, it'll do a lot of damage. It'll at least kill a creature that's blocking this double strike fucking 4/4. So great card for limited.
The class that fucked me up was Gossip's Talent.
Yes.
Yeah, which I was so jealous that I didn't end up getting in my own pool when I ran Simic. But 2 mana ETB Surveil 1. I mean creatures ETB Surveil 1, which the 2 games that I lost was merely because of that card having the Surveil 1 and then getting it to level 3 and then bouncing their own shit. It's coming back out. They're getting Surveil triggers off of that. And then that combined with the Shoreline Looter also fucked me up. Like one deck that really crushed me was the combination of those 2.
That's the 1/1 that can't be blocked, correct?
Yeah, and then you loot unless you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. But like
okay.
once they kind of stabilized from my initial like onslaught, I found that the card selection was like impossible to deal with because it's limited. So you do occasionally hit those pockets of like 3 lands. I mean that's in any format you could do that, but I just found like the constant surveilling and drawing was very difficult to deal with because they had their pick of the litter.
Yeah. I liked how all the classes played. I want to get the Gossip class for Frogs, obviously, and get that going. Card advantage is heavy in this. There's not too many cards that just say like draw. You have to use your creatures to get that card advantage, and when you have something like this doing it, it really helps out.
It did use new Read the Bones though.
Yeah, it's great.
Use that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to put it in other decks. And speaking of card advantage, the other card that I actually found pretty effective for me was the black. I think it's like stargazing.
Black, black. It's the -2,
Stargaze.
-2 creative food.
No, stargaze. X black black sorcery. Look at twice X cards from the top of your library. Put X cards among them into your hand. The rest in your graveyard. You lose X life. I found that to be pretty effective because even when I was casting it for 4, I felt like seeing seeing 4 cards and picking 2 and losing 2, like was a solid return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's scalable. It depends on how much you want to lose, depends on what you're looking for, and it will help bats if you got the bats out while looking for cards.
It didn't. It didn't help me do the fucking thing. Bats. I liked casting it. I didn't hate seeing it. I just didn't like the fucking cards I was drawing with it.
Yeah. And I didn't see any rats really. Every once in a while there'd be a random rat, not a single rat.
Yeah, not rat synergy, just like incidental rats.
Yeah, but so I'm feeling a little bit froggy after all this shit.
Wait, last one. Hold on. Before we forget, right, fucking lizards. I've seen literally 1 lizard.
Okay, wait till you get into standard. You'll see a lot of lizards.
Oh, okay, really?
That's gonna be my talk about.
All right, we'll talk about that later then with lizards.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. You feeling froggy?
Okay, while we're on lizards, let's just say the one lizard. Oh, I love it. We're like edging the whole frogs. The one lizard that did really kind of whoop ass in limited was it's 2 hybrid red black. It's the 3/2 where if damage happened to your opponent, it comes in with a 1/1 counter.
1/1.
And then you can pay 2 mana to give it menace. Yeah. Everywhere and anywhere, because damage is happening, and then it's a 3 mana 4/3, and you can give it menace. Solid card, great for standard, but limited and standard. No, but dog, so frogs, man. My only 7x, I went 7-1 with bullshit frogs.
I went 7-2 with bullshit frogs,
dude. Whew. So all right, what do you think, man? What's this about the frogs? What's going on?
Number one is I am going to put together a frog commander deck list for you to look at. I'm gonna try to brew it because I feel like there's got to be something there. Because I'm already putting
it together. Yeah.
Are you? So you went back to it?
Dude, let's do a communal build on this. Yeah. So I
was gonna say
we don't need any other colors. Blue, green has enough.
Has it all? Yeah. Word. How about this? How about I put together what I would do, and you put together what you would do, and I'll just give you my list, and then you could see like where we would differ on card choices, and then you have like a selection to pick from. I'm assuming we're gonna be similar a lot, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, holy shit.
There's only so many frogs. So frogs are going to be similar, but it's like, what are you doing with them frogs?
Yeah. How are you doing? Because there's got to be a way. Dude, okay, so my pick one of my frog run, Mist Breath Elder. What a fucking banger of a card.
Yeah.
You put it out there, it doesn't bounce itself, so it just chills as like a 2/2, hanging out for 1 mana. And then my dog, my top fucking dog, love this card. I could not be more happy with this card. Sun Shower Druid. That little motherfucker, that little piece of shit did so much work. It was such a fucking hero holding his little hands up, summoning little raindrops. Like 1 mana 0/2. At turn 1, I don't have anything else. It's a 1/3, which is great stats for a fucking 1-drop. And you gain a life. Cool. And then as soon as you play anything else, instant blink fodder. It comes back out. I'm still gaining life. I'm putting counters on other shit. Holy shit. I fucking love Sunshower Druid and Mist Breath Elder. And then my pack 2 pick 1 was Might Caller, which is just dumb. Valley Might Caller. So yeah, I got.
Dude, that's the holy trinity of frogs right there.
I said, yeah, dude. I got 2 Sunshower Druids, Mist Breath Elder, and Valley Might Caller, and I felt like a fucking champion. Yeah. So good. So I mean,
Okay,
I could
okay,
just
but
yeah.
before we go any further, these are the you called 3 one-drop frogs. I didn't know Mist Breath Elder didn't have to bounce itself. I can't tell you how many times I waited until turn 3 to drop him because I needed a 2-drop to bounce first.
Oh
I just
yeah,
read it as, "Otherwise, you return Mist Breath Elder to his hand." So, that's awesome to know. Frogs just got even better.
yeah,
But anyway, go ahead, onward with the frogs.
yeah. So obviously, Valley Might Caller is just good for being good. Um, and then the only other I got a bunch of like great synergies. The other card that really closed out a couple games for me, which I was surprised about because when I first read it, I was like, not indifferent to it. I just picked it basically because it was like a decent frog, but ended up being pretty effective. Is I'm looking it up right now. I don't want to nice right into. Who the fuck are you?
I wonder if it's gonna be Tree Guard Duo. That's
No,
my
okay.
answer. Okay,
Tree Guard
go
Duo
ahead.
is great, but
Yeah, closer.
I got two Water Spout Wardens.
Okay, that's a 3
A
mana blue?
uh yeah, two in blue for 3/2, and when it attacks, if another creature eats bead, it gets flying.
Yep.
So there was a couple of games where if they didn't stick a reach or a flyer, where if I had both of them out, I was bouncing my little Sun Shower Druid. I was putting counters on them. They're getting they're getting to be like 4/3s, 5/4s with flying. It was gross.
Yes. Okay, did you get the hybrid 1/1 frog that draws a card when it ETBs?
Yes.
Pond
Code.
Prophet?
Yeah, Pond Profit. Yeah.
Dude.
I got one of those. Great. Another blinking blink fodder.
Yep, yep,
Run away
so I
together
yes,
was
dude!
dude, what a card.
At instant speed, get rid of their biggest thing that they wanted to hit you with. Get your little dumb frog back. If they
Yeah,
wanted to kill your big frog, take that frog back too, while getting rid of their shit. Run away
exactly.
together.
My favorite play with that was somebody cruel clawed heisted me and stole one of my frogs and then played it the next turn. And then I just I used runaway together to bounce that thing and my own frog. And I got my fucking frog back. And I was like, you motherfucker.
That's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
run away
Uh,
together. Huge.
yeah. Yeah, there's also that one blue mana card. It's exile a creature you control, return it to the battlefield. If it's a frog, draw a card. It's a sorcery, which means you can't really do too much with it. However, for any one of these frogs, it's gonna take it out, which there's that 2 mana frog that whenever a creature leaves the battlefield, if it
Splash
wasn't
portal.
killed, put on, which is awesome. 2 mana, 2/3 that's doing that shit, puts counters. So it'll leave, then it comes back. You're gonna get the trigger of that frog, you're gonna get a card in hand, and that shit happened for 1 mana. So that's something
Yeah.
I'm actually running in my standard frog deck. But Tree Guard Duo is another one that if you are gonna run frogs, this is how you finish it. The Valley Mistcaller is a 1 mana 1/1 that has trample. And what you do is once it's big enough, you cast Tree Guard Duo. It's a 4 mana frog rabbit. When it enters, creature gets XX, where X is the number of creatures you control. Typically, it'll put like 4, 5, 6, something like that. And you put it onto the thing with trample, and now you're swinging in with something heavy.
Yeah.
If you already have this out, um, just flash it, and it'll just every turn that Valley is going to get the 1/1 counter from the frog entering, and then the pump. So great way to finish games really quickly with frogs.
Same thing with I literally won a game splash portal on the duo, giving the plus whatever to Water Spout Warden that I just mentioned, and then
Oh,
swung over
perfect.
the top for literally 9.
Yeah, yeah. There's oh fuck, oh man, I'm gushing about the frogs. There's Splash Lasher, which is 3 and a blue. It's a 4 mana 3/3. When it enters, tap up to one target creature you control and put a stun counter on it, but it has offspring.
Offspring.
Now, frogs are getting a ton of mana. Now, I like to run the Clifftop Lookout, which is a 3 mana 1/2. When it enters, reveal cards from your library until you get a land and put it out. You pop that 1 or 2 times, you're now ramped heavily. And then you could easily pop this out. So this frog will enter with its offspring. You'll get 2 frogs entering triggers, and you could either tap down 2 separate creatures, which would be tapped down for 2 turns, or you pick the same creature and put 2 stun counters on it. So I did that to a Shieldred in Standard, and then was able to just swing through. Fuck that Shieldred. It's tapped down for 3 turns, baby. Let's go. And frogs killed him. So that's another uncommon. Long River Lurker. Ward 1. All frogs you control have Ward 1. You can choose a creature when it enters. That frog is now unblockable. When it deals damage, bring it to exile, bring it back in. You're now getting the triggers of it leaving, getting it entered back in. They all have Ward. So Long River Lurker is another good one.
The other, what is it that gives the Lily Splash Mentor, 4 mana, 4/4 with reach, and then wait, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Which one? What's the one where if a creature left and came back but it didn't die?
Yeah,
that's leaves...
2 mana, 3 tree scribe, a 3 tree scribe.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that card was great.
Yeah. And then Polywallop as the removal, dude. 1 green mana deals double damage.
Yeah, because I'm easily dealing 6 with my Wardens, or you got a buffed up Might Caller, and all of a sudden you're bopping for like 16 or whatever the fuck. Yeah, Polywallop, great flavor, awesome card.
Yeah. Okay, and now we've been talking about mainly just like the basic frogs. Let's get into like the juicy juice of it all. So Clement, I had Clement in my deck.
Oh, you got him?
I had him. That's actually what made me. He was my pack 1 pick 1 was Clement, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll give the frogs a try. So Clement is a 3 mana 3/3 with vigilance. Fuck yeah. Whenever Clement or another creature, so it doesn't have to be a frog. Whenever another creature enters, return 1 creature that you control with mana value less, or is it mana value anymore? Yeah. Okay, Clement enters, you just get your 1 manas back. You recast it. You do, the cliff top lookout. That way you can recast it and get another land. Whatever you want to do with the frogs, you know what to do with frogs. But it also says frogs you control have tap to produce a green or a blue and spend this mana only to cast creature spells. But like the big thing is like tap frogs to cast the bigger frog and then return one of the tapped frogs to hand. And you used it as mana anyway. So it's like you're using that frog that you're going to bounce back for value as mana, and it doesn't matter because it's getting bounced anyway. So Clement was phenomenal.
And you're bouncing your Sun Shower Druid, which you're going to play again for a 1/1 counter and 1 life.
Yes. Okay. And the best thing, Sun Shower Druid is out. You put the 1/1 counter to another creature. Now you cast Dread Dew Entrancer, which is 2 green blue for a 3/4 reach frog. When it enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put 3 stun counters on it. If you control that creature, draw 2 cards. I stun my own creature every time. It's always my son fella. Sundew Druid? What is it?
Sun Shower
Druid?
Yeah, Shower Druid.
Tap that motherfucker down. He's only an 0/2 anyway. You draw 2 cards, you play another frog, and you bounce that Sun Druid to hand because it's tapped and it drew cards and it's an 0/2. Now you recast that. So like,
and you get a 1/1 counter in 1 life.
Yeah, dude. And you drew the 2 cards while getting a 3/4 with reach. Hell yeah. But also, like you said, Lily Splash Mentor is also one that you have to have in there just because it does the 3 mana, flicker frogs all day. I can't say enough good things about it. Oh, and the green land. There's the green uncommon land. Okay. 1 green and tap that land. Any frog that entered the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. You don't have to sacrifice it or anything. And it's only 1 mana and tap it. So yeah, dude. Yeah. It's so good.
Could not be more hyped on frogs. Yeah.
So yeah, that's limited in a nutshell. Frogs, rabbits, mice, they're the good shit. But all right, that bleeds right into the new standard rotation. So all of these cards that we've been talking about are now in standard, and we lost 3 sets. What are the 3 sets we lost? We lost Crimson Tide.
Kaldheim?
Kaldheim? No, Kaldheim wasn't in here.
It's not in. It's still in standard.
No, Kaldheim left last rotation. Kaldheim's
Oh,
been
did
out for a
it?
long time. Oh yeah, baby.
I
So
don't know
we
the fuck I'm
lost
talking. New
Crimson
Capenna?
Hunt, New Capenna, Crimson Hunt, and the Vow, whatever. The two
Crimson Vow
Innistrad team.
Midnight Hunt.
There we go. And New Capenna. Okay. So there's a totally new format. It
Kamigawa.
has rotated.
That
Kamigawa.
was the other one. That was the other one that rotated.
Okay. Good. Good. Um, have you played any standard? Have you looked into standard? Have you seen
No,
decks?
still trying to.
Pull up and see. Pull up and see what the new decks in standard are while I
Word,
tell
let's
you what
see.
I've learned. So the most important thing is Shieldred is everywhere now.
Yep.
Shieldred is actually more prevalent now than it was. I don't know if it's because she's Old Faithful and people who are building already have 4 of them and they're just building around her, but she is everywhere right now. What I did is, so I played just a decent amount of standard. I did mostly limited. I played just to see what's out there, and I took account of what Bloomburrow cards are seeing play in standard right now. So I'd like to see if what my list of what I've seen matches up to any new deck lists. And yeah, I don't even know if that information would be out yet, though, huh?
Well, yeah. So I'm obviously just on MTG Goldfish. Their top
The
5
best.
decks right now are Golgari midrange. Can I reduce it? Let's do like the past 7 days. Yeah, Golgari midrange, running like Mosswood Dread Knight, Preacher of the Schism package. Top end looks to be Aclazotz. Aclazotz is their top end
Bats.
with some Shieldred in there. So that's that. Then it's followed by Boros Convoke still, Novice Inspector, Warden of the Inner Sky, Voldarin Epicure. So a bunch of 1-drops with Knight Errant of Eos as the top end. You got your good old fashioned mono red aggro, which is still just doing, the red game plan, nothing new really there. And then the last one is from the last 7 days, Demir midrange, another Preacher of the Schism, Deep Cavern Bat type of thing with Hidetsugu and Kyrie at the top end.
So you don't really see any Bloomburrow cards in these lists.
No, but to be fair though, technically speaking, literally yesterday was when Bloomburrow became legal in standard. So
okay. All right. So I was hoping there would be something to compare this
hold
to. So
on.
we don't have the data yet.
Wait.